What's up, guys? That's Chris Park here. Look, today, I know we normally talk about addiction. Today, I want to talk about a book I recently read, Orthodoxy by GK Chesterton. Now, this is a book about why Christianity is true, but it's written in a way that is so unique and different than any book I've ever read about Christianity. I don't know how much you know about GK Chesterton, but they called him the Prince of Paradox because he would take these sayings that somebody might have or truisms or whatever, and he would just kind of lay it out. He would dissect it, flip it upside down, and kind of show you how the opposite is true or just different things like that. I mean, the guy had like an intellect and wit he was so witty that I just don't see it ever being surpassed by anyone. And with that being said, it can sometimes be difficult to read this book. I mean, it was written a while back, so the language is kind of a little, it's English, but it's difficult to kind of get into like the sentence structure, the paragraph structure, and all these kind of paradoxical sayings that he gives you. And it took me a while to kind of get into the book, right? But once if you stick with it, or at least for me, the more I stuck with reading it, that just kind of became, I could just flow with it. You know what I mean? And it started to get it. I don't know if you've ever read books in like different vernacular or like by people, from England, and where they have a lot of like different sayings and stuff. And like, it takes a while to just get that flow, but once you get into it, it just pops right in. And that's the way it was for me with Orthodoxy. Now, he's also a lot smarter than I am, and so some of the concepts are difficult for me to grasp. So I've underlined, I've made notes, I've got different quotes that I love. I thought I'd try to find a quote, but this book it wasn't written so that you would read it and be like, oh, okay, I see why it's true, even though I think that definitely can happen and does happen. The book was written for people to see, because Chesterton wanted people to understand why he became a Christian. So this is just like a quote. Man is more himself. Man is more man-like when joy is the fundamental thing in him. He said, the vault above us is not deaf because the universe is an idiot. The silence is not the heartless silence of an endless and aimless world. Rather, the silence around us is a small and pitiful stillness, like the prompt stillness in a sick room. So many good quotes in here. But only we of Christendom have said that we should hunt God like an eagle upon the mountains, and we have killed all monsters in the chase. The guy had a way with words. I have spoken of orthodoxy coming in like a sword. Here I confess, it came in like a battle axe. That's probably my favorite quote, because sometimes that's how I feel. So, again, this book was written just to kind of show people how Chesterton himself became a Christian and the way he thought through things. And it is so unique. Most people don't think like Chesterton. We just aren't like that. We don't think through things, but this guy thought through things. He looked at all angles. And it is just interesting. Now, also of note, Chesterton was a big influence on C.S. Lewis. And it's, Chesterton wrote a lot about like mythology and the power of myth. Not myth like in something that's not true, but myth in like this story. And you'll see that carried on in like Lewis's writings as well as J.R.R. Tolkien's writings. There's this kind of general theme. And I don't know that Chesterton was the first to do this, but he definitely wrote about that. And it's also to note that he was writing at a time where modernism and this postmodern thought was really kind of starting to pick up and drive things. Everybody was wanting scientific answers for everything, and they wanted to lay their hands on something, right? And he kind of he shows like the danger in that type of thinking. And so he was writing at a time very similar to our time, where things are like so subjective and nihilistic that life itself was losing its meaning to a lot of people. And we see all these diseases of despair, depression, anxiety, addiction. We see all that. So we see it playing out. And Chesterton says, look, there is a meaning, there is a purpose to things. And so it's also, I think we should note that the title Orthodoxy does not have to do with the Eastern Orthodox Church. I myself am in the process of converting to Orthodoxy, but it's interesting that the Prince of Paradox, Chesterton, he wrote a book called Orthodoxy, not trying to talk about orthodoxy, but in turn maybe talked about orthodoxy. So, but I'll let the experts decide on that one. So, all right, guys, I hope y'all have a great day. Check out the book. I think you can get it like for $3, like the Kindle version, but maybe get something else so that you can make notes and underline things and reread it 10 times and leave some comments. Let me know if you've read it. Let me know if you're thinking about reading it. Let me know if you have other book suggestions. All right, guys. Peace.